Are we on? Can you hear me? Is it working? I'm trying to figure that out. Happy tennis. There we are. I think we're working. We got somebody on there. Just double checking on my other device to see if we can see if this is working and has good sound and all the other stuff. Oh, look at that. It sounds great. Perfect. What's up, guys? Hope you guys are doing good today. Thought I would bring you on just like old times. We used to do a lot of lives back in the day when NP tennis was a little younger, you could say. Yeah, and I just have some free time today, this afternoon, and I'm going to string a racket. And just a good opportunity to say hi to some folks, and I'm sure some people would love to ask some questions, etc. So I have a little bit of time here, so do a live for you guys. Just taking the string out of my racket, or the old string, you could say. Yeah, welcome. Hope everybody's doing great. Today is Wednesday, April the 3rd. So we're getting into springtime, folks, but it ain't springtime here in New Hampshire, I can tell you that. We're supposed to get like 20 centimeters of snow over the next 24 to 48 hours, so that's pretty depressing. We've been playing outside. We've already had our spring break trip. Been playing outside enough, and now it looks like we're going to take a step backwards. So, a little bit upsetting, but not much you can do about it. That's what happens when you live on the East Coast. So yeah. Hello from Brazil. Hello, Danilo. What are your favorite strategies to play with? Great question, and it's probably going to be our next video. So I'm actually not going to answer that question because I don't want to spoil the video. So be sure to look out for that because that's actually going to be our next video. Hello, man. Let me ask you: does Super Toro pair well in a lower tension, such as 46 with Radical? Planning to do that. I would say that it's worth a try. I personally think Super Toro is, Toro line strings are relatively soft. So lower tensions, they could work, but like, for example, I put it in my blade when I did the review, and I think the blade would play better with a more stiff string at a higher tension. But I probably wouldn't go any lower on my Radical personally, just because I think 50's a good point to start with. So yeah, that's just kind of my take, but I would say you can definitely try it out. One string job, right? 1, 2, 3. People are rolling in here. That's nice to see. Gonna get started here. I know some people are coming in here. Hello everyone, hello. People are saying hi. Hope you all are doing great. We put out a video yesterday about serving harder and faster and improving your serve. So if you guys have not seen that video, you should check it out. It was a good one. Seems like people are enjoying it. I also apologize. We may have some minor interruptions at some point because I am in the locker room. Some of the boys might be coming in at some point. I know One of our guys is in the gym, which is literally about a 50-foot walk from our locker room, so he might be coming to say hi briefly after when he's done his workouts. I know probably some people are already asking some questions, so just bear with me. I'm just going to start the racket here. All right. I'm trying the older 360 Radical Pro. Now, after I tried the Exotic Radical Pro, doesn't feel much difference. I think I strung the Exotic one too high and it's kind of stiff. Yeah, I can't really comment on that one really too much because I didn't use the old Radical. I only have the new Exotic one. Hello, happy stream. Would you do a stretch and warm-up video for a practice or a match? We do have some warm-up videos on the channel. So you can check those out, but maybe we can kind of do an updated version if you would like. Opinion on Link's tour. I think it's a good offering from Head. Do I think it's the best polyester string out there? Probably not, but some people will probably really enjoy it. I used to use it in my extreme tours a few years back. It plays pretty well, but like I said, it's nothing that's going to blow your mind, at least from my experience. I string fairly thin strings. Mauve Hepta Twist 1.15, the thinnest version in the main, and Pro Line 2 1.15 round string across. It looked 3 to 4 pounds lower than the main. Time for pro staff. I'm trying to find a racket with more power. I've been trying some of them. Which do you recommend? Ooh, that's a good question. So pro staff is kind of like Wilson's more controlled line, as you probably know. I would recommend, if you would like to stay within Wilson, you could try the Blade. Although I think the Blade now and the pro staff actually play quite similar. I feel like 10 years ago those rackets were very different, but now for some reason I feel like they start playing, they're close. So then all of a sudden, I'm not a big fan of Wilson stuff right now. I feel like their rackets are a little all over the place because after the Blade and the pro stuff, you go to like the Ultra or like a Clash, and like that would probably be too much power for you, I'm guessing. It would be too much of a jump. So I'd recommend something like a Radical could be good, a Head Speed could be good. You could maybe try an E-Zone 98. That might be a little bit more power for you. You could try like an Extreme 4. You could try like something from the Dunlop CX line. A Pure Strike. You could try a Pure Strike. That's just kind of the ones I'm thinking at the top of my head. But with Wilson, it's kind of... You could also try the Pro Staff X. That ain't my favorite racket, but it could work. I know my dad is like that in the past. The Slinko Whiteouts aren't a bad try. Hi kid, love your channel. Thanks, buddy. Quick question. I'm playing and in love with the Blade V9 1619. Your review of the Radicals are making me want to try them out. Which one of them do you suggest? Well, I'm quite biased. I love my Radical. I just kind of went on a spiel of how I'm not really in love with the new Wilson stuff. That just goes across the board. I mean, I was saying this now on the contrary, the other side of things. There's not really a bad racket anymore because some people sometimes give like content creators hate because they're saying everything's good, and that's just not true. Or like like, it's not true and it's not fair to give us hate because it's very difficult to say that something is bad when technology has gotten so good. And it just kind of sucks because people give us shit basically, because we're not docking a racket. But like, for example, the Wilson Blade isn't really my kind of racket. I'm not looking to switch to a racket, but for a lot of people, they're gonna love the Wilson Blade. But to your point, I would recommend the Radical, and that's because I like it, so it's kind of not fair to say that. I personally think it's difficult to get spin with the new blades. I think you need to put a really stiff string in there. Like, I put my Super Tour in the blade, and like, it's so tough to get spin. That's one thing I should have highlighted more in my review recently, and I just didn't give it. Like, if I played with some different strings in there, I would have been able to figure that out sooner. Like, for example, I did Restring Sync, like the review of that recently, and I think that would play a lot better in the blade than my Super Toro. I don't think I would like the blade still, though, just because I'm not a big blade guy. Do all your teammates string their own rackets? Good question. No. My first year and second year, I did a lot of stringing, not for just myself, but I also did a lot of the girls' rackets as well, my first and second year. I'm trying to think. Most of the guys string, like, you gotta break it down, like, I think probably like 80% of them do, and then the guys that don't, they just give their rackets to a couple of like the guys or whatever. The girls, there's not many. I think there might be. Actually, I don't think any of the girls string their rackets. So my first and second year, I was stringing a lot of the girls' rackets, which was a little time-consuming at times, but it is what it is. I'm happy to help. I don't love doing like 6 rackets a day though. But yeah, most of the guys do, not many of the girls do though. Thanks, I tried the blade and they actually are pretty similar. They give some control and also it was stringed to a high tension and it felt complicated to generate power. Oh, interesting. That's probably, it could have been because of the high tension. It depends what a high tension is for you though. Like a high tension for me is like anywhere 55 and above. Like that's considered a high tension for me. So if you lower the tension, you'll get more power. I feel like it's tough to get spin with blades. Well, at least the new ones, the last couple of years. I feel like I'm going really fast. Gotta slow down. Normally I'm taking my time here with you guys. Thanks. Do you have any thoughts on Pure Strike 1620 100 compared to Radical lineup? I've never played with the 1620 or the 100 version of the Pure Strike. I've hit with the regular one before. The Pure Strike, like that's going to give you more power for sure, especially if it's 100 square inch. You'll be able to get some good spin off of that for sure, and good power. The Radical is going to feel more controlled for sure. And for someone who plays with rackets from 305 to 310 grams, never played with 315 unstrung, which Radical would you recommend? A customized MP or stock Pro? I would say go with the MP for sure because like the stock Pro is 315, 100%, and especially if you're beginner intermediate, like the MP is going to give you some more power, right? So I think that would be a better a better choice. You settled on the Radical Pro, but are you still trying other rackets to see if there's something else out there? Each racket is a compromise. Each racket is a compromise. I love my radicals right now, actually. I'm pretty honest about that. But of course, like I get rackets to review, so if there's a racket that I feel like is really good, I would be stupid not to continue to use it if I really liked it. So for example, I tried that blade. Like, I don't know when we put that video out, but the video might be like a week and a bit old or like 10 days old, and I tried it like 2 weeks ago now. I didn't like it enough to switch to it, so then I won't use it. But like, if I do come across a racket that I do really like, then I will. And that's what happened actually. That's what happens sometimes, like in the past when I've demoed rackets, it's just like, I start demoing one, I'm like, oh shit, like I like this racket. And then it's like, is it time to switch to a different racket? Like, how do I feel? You gotta like reevaluate. Like for me, like switching rackets is a really big deal because like, you get so used to playing with certain rackets and your game like adapts and develops with a racket. That's an issue that I'm actually having. Some of you might have a hard time understanding this, but it's a problem I'm having with shoes right now. These aren't being made anymore, and it pisses me off. And I've played with those, the Vapor X's, like those are the 9.5s, the X's, the Vapor Pros for a long time now, and all of a sudden, Nike decides not to make their best-selling shoes of all time. I don't know. You don't have to fact check me on that one, but like they definitely sold a lot of those shoes and a lot of that Vapor Pro line, so it really ticks me off. But yeah, to your point, like rackets. If I get a good racket to demo and I really like it, then I'll definitely take a look. And also, I only have 3 of my radicals right now, so I've been replacing the grommets and stuff, but I'll move through these rackets faster than I did with my Extreme Tours because I had 5 of them. I took a long break from tennis, so I pretty much went from K-Blade 90 to Blade V8, and I hated the V8. Yeah, K-Blades, that's when they make good blades. I feel like the blades stopped, like, in my opinion, and what I've heard from a lot of blade lovers, after like 2015, the blade kind of went for shit. That's what I've heard. I know some people that have, there's this guy that I actually know pretty well. I think he played with like, I think it was either the 2014 or 2015, and he replaced the grommets on his blade. I think he still has those same blades. Like, he just likes them so much, and he does not want to use the new blades because he doesn't like them. So, I've heard the same thing from some other people as well. Best tennis string besides Tourline. Oh my god, there's so many good tennis strings out there, guys. Like, that's also what I was saying, like, people don't make bad products anymore. Restring has good stuff. Grapple Snake is really underrated as well. I mean, Luxilon is great as well, but it's very expensive. Just a sec. Yeah, Luxilon makes good stuff. Like really, like somebody asked me about head lengths. Like it's a good string. Like Babolat makes good strings. There's not really like there's some strings that are better than others. Like I really do like Super Toro right now, so I would recommend that for people to try. Solinco makes great strings as well. I used Confidential for years. I'm very confident in my polyester knowledge, or like the poly setups. When it comes to multi and syn gut stuff, I'm not as confident when recommending, just because I have never used them or have not used them in a long time. So I know some good basics of recommending and stuff, but like I don't really know what they play like, just because I don't use a hybrid. With your tour line set up, roughly what percentage of its usage do you start to notice the tension drop? Great question. I restring my racket really frequently, so even if I feel like I'm just thinking here. I'm thinking about our practices, and we practice at least 2 hours a day. So like, how long would it last? I don't know if you guys heard that, but the toilet just automatically flushed. That was weird. I would say I get a really good, like, 8 hours out of it. And that's like, me being honest, like, I would not restring under 8 hours. Like, honestly. When I play a match and I bring a new fresh stick out, it will last a full like 4 sets. That's including like the doubles point and then my match if I play 3 sets. Like the only time I would switch throughout a match is if we get a new can of balls in the third, or like if we play D1 teams, we'll get a new can every set. So maybe I'll switch and start with new strings in a second set or something. But like honestly, like I'm just thinking like sometimes I leave it in longer because I'm lazy and I don't want to come to the stringer. But when it comes to breakage, I'm actually, like, I'm not somebody that, like, breaks strings super easily either. I don't know why, I never have been, never had that issue. So, like, I however, don't leave my string in my racket until it breaks either. So, like, let's say I just strung this racket today, I use it for 4 hours total, it's in my racket for 2 days or something overnight, but then we play the next day, well, I'm gonna restring it, you know what I mean? So it's tough for me to answer kind of, but I haven't really had big tension loss issues. How do you find balancing college tennis in the normal college workload? Great question. Some people suck at it, I'll tell you that. I know people that suck at it. But I've always been pretty good with my time management. I've had to be good at it ever since I was younger, because I traveled when I was younger a bit as well, and I always had to be on top of it. So that kind of set me up for college. I also feel like high school for me in Canada was very difficult compared to college. And that's really saying something. Like, I had classes in high school that I hated, and they were so hard. And now I'm at school, and like, I mean, I think it's super chill. Like, I wake up, I might have an 8 a.m. class or whatever, but then like, hey, I get 3 hours off, and I get to go to the gym, and like, then I have our practice, and then I have another class. Like, I think there's so much time now throughout the day compared to high school. Like, you're not in school from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. sort of thing. Like, you have time to do what you want to do, and that's where the time management comes in, and I think I do a really good job at that. But it can be really tough. Like I said, some guys are really, really bad at it, and they like days just slide. Opinion on Technofiber T-Fight ISO. I played with the TF40. I don't know if that's the ISO one. I'm trying to remember. I'm a little rusty on the Technofiber knowledge here. But their other, like their T-Fight one, I don't know if I played with the regular one before. What was the best and the worst part of playing your first pro tournament? Hopefully we'll get some more questions about that, because that was a very exciting experience. The best part was being there and being able to experience the level. Being around some of the guys that are like in the top, a lot of guys are in the top 500 over there, but like being around Brendan Holt, being around, I can't pronounce his name, he's from Taiwan, but I think he's like inside the top 200 now, like watching these guys. Of course, I met Felix, I met Carew, like meeting these guys, being around them, it was a really cool experience. And like the best part was the experience. The worst part was the travel. And you guys might be like, well, a travel? What do you mean? You were just in California. Well, it was a little bit more complicated than that. This is also looking complicated right here. What the heck? Just a second. The travel was by far the least enjoyable part because we were on our spring break trip in Florida, and my flights got canceled to LAX, so I had to find a new flight. And then I was on a red eye. I flew through the night, got to LAX. I had to Uber like 2 hours or whatever. I arrived at my hotel by myself. That's right, because I did it all by myself. And I just had to like sit in the hotel for like 4 hours just by myself before I could get in my room. So like, the worst part was the travel and doing it alone. And a lot of people really don't understand how tough it is to be doing this every weekend. Because I remember like calling my dad when I got to the hotel, like I was jet lagged, I was tired. I had played a 3-set match literally the day before and a double. So I played tennis for like a good, almost probably 3.5, 4 hours the day before. And I remember calling him like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Like I was so out of it. And I think that you get that sense of loneliness, and it's so tough. Like, mad respect to what like Carew is doing right now. Like he's really grinding. Like it's really nice to see. And also Felix as well, but like Felix is also doing it with his dad, so he's really lucky. Like when I was hitting with him, we had a couple warm-up hits, or like I watched his match and stuff, like his dad was with him there the whole time, and that's also really easy for him to make content. Like that's why I didn't have a lot of footage for that video, because I'm just out there kind of like freeballing. It's my first time out there. I gotta make sure I'm fed, I gotta make sure I'm warmed up, I gotta make sure I'm sleeping, you know what I mean? I gotta get to the courts, I gotta get to my hotel, I gotta catch a flight. Like there's a lot of things on your mind when it's your first time, and if you don't, since I was the only one flying by myself and doing everything by myself, it was tough to create content. But the best part was the experience, the worst part was the travel, like adjusting, and like the loneliness part. I gotta catch up here, guys, sorry. Have you tried the Blade Pro? I've actually hit with it for probably 5 minutes, so I haven't hit enough with it to make a video though. Are there downsides to stringing your racket too early before you play? Oh my god, absolutely. Like if you string a racket but it's not, oh yeah. If you string a racket, if I string this racket today and I don't use it for a month, might as well like throw the racket in the trash can. For me at least, because like the racket and the string is gonna lose tension right away. As soon as you take it off the stringer, it's gonna lose tension. That's just the way it is. A lot of people don't know that. If I string it at 50 pounds, 5 minutes after I take it off the stringer, it's not gonna be 50 pounds anymore. That's just the way it is. And then you hit with it, it'll lose tension. It sits in your room overnight, it loses tension. If you live in a hot climate and you let your string and your racket sit in the sun, that's really bad for it. It will lose tension. And also the complete opposite. If you live in a very cold climate and you leave your rackets in the car in like the winter, it's bad for your rackets and you will lose tension as well. So yeah, make sure you're stringing your rackets like, especially when you have like a multi or a sin or a natural gut. If you don't take care of your racket and your strings, it's gonna really not be good. So I always string the night before a match. So if I play at noon the next day, I will string the day of or the night before. And I will normally string 3 rackets. That's why you guys are I'm never doing lives That's why I'm never doing lives at those times, because I'd be on the live for like 6 hours because I would want to talk, but it only would take me probably an hour and a half to really do 3 rackets. But normally I have 2 fresh ones for every match. I'm stringing 3 normally if we're going on a trip or something. Basically, is there a concept of like string freshness? Yes, I just kind of went over that. Top G, nice to see you. Ooh, Lynx Tour, M8 Tour. I think M8, you mean like the grapple snake? M8 every day of the week. I just think it's better. Damn, 8 hours and you hit so hard. That's impressive for a string. Yes, and I don't want you to think I'm promoting Tour Line in that sense, because for me, like Confidential was like that as well. Like I said before, I'm tired of getting shit. Like I'm not a big string breaker. So like I could play with this Tour Line Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it wouldn't break, and we could practice for 2 hours every day. I think it must be the way I hit the ball, to be honest, because like I grew up with juniors and my friends that were breaking strings all the time, like all the time, every day. They were just breaking, and I never really understood. And I think it's actually the way I play. I'm kind of more of like I have a big serve. I kind of can be crafty. I'm also a little bit of a counter puncher. Like I like to use pace of guys. So like that's always kind of how I played. I'll come to the net. Like I'm not somebody that's taking like huge cuts. And I'm not playing on clay all the time either. If I was playing on clay, I would probably be breaking more strings. Do some of you, I've been using Hawk Power and loving it. That's awesome. I've heard that's a good string as well. Or I've actually played with it. It's a good string. Do some guys you know use the E-Zone 98, and what strings do they use? I'm thinking about Rude. Yeah, some guys do use the E-Zone 98. I got a guy on the team right now that's using the E-Zone 98 Tour. I think any of those strings that you said would work really well on it. But yeah, honestly, any stiffer poly in a racket like that I think would play really, really good. I mean, you could try some Tour Line stuff in there as well, but might be too powerful for you if you're like a more advanced player. But yeah, it's funny, back to the strings. I'm stringing this racket now. We have an off day today because we've got a friggin' snowstorm coming, like I mentioned in the beginning. Tomorrow we might not be able to get on court as well because of the snowstorm, so then I will use this racket on Friday. For me, it's still good enough to use. Novak Djokovic, would he want a fresh bed for Friday? Yes, so he would probably string it on Friday morning, or he would have somebody string it. He's not stringing his racket. But for me, I'm stringing it now because I might not be able to get here another time to the locker room before Friday. So this is also the time management as well. Like I know that I might not be able to get here, so I string my racket on Wednesday, so I do have at least a fresh string in there for that day. And a fresh bed that sits in your racket for 36 to 48 hours is better than a dead bed that you've been using that will sit in your racket for longer. So you have to weigh the pros and cons there. What is the average length of your tennis sessions, and what is the maximum length you would go for? Our practices are 2 hours long every day. The college practices are always 2 hours long. I think that's what it is for most people at schools. But honestly, like, sometimes we'll play for an hour and a half, and I know some people are going to be like, wow, like, you don't practice more? Well, guys, like, I'm not practicing for 4 hours a day because we're all like college students. We have class we go to the gym, we need to sleep, some of us work jobs. I think a lot of people have this misconception of like, you want to go pro, the best juniors, the best college players, you need to practice 5 hours a day. I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. If you practice like 4 hours a day and you go to the gym and you're in college, you won't make it to the season, man. You won't make it to the conference playoffs, man. You'll be destroyed. You need to take care of your body, because like the 2 hours that we're on court, like we're also doing stuff the whole time. So it's like a good, like, it's nonstop. We do a lot of hitting. We do a lot of points. College tennis practices are not like your typical like basket feed, hand feed. A lot of drills, we do a ton of hitting and a ton of like hitting drills, and like a lot of the time, live ball, hand feed, feeding stuff, that happens like in our off seasons when we go back home to like our countries or whatever. Felix's dad also manages his brand partnerships. I'm sure he does. He probably does. Did you ever try Restring, and if you did, what did you think? I just did a review on Restring Sync. Great string. I think it will work well in some more power frames to tone them down a bit. It plays like Allo Power. Restring Zero is coming soon. I have it in my room. I just have not had a chance to do the review on it. Reviews right now are really difficult for me to really put out a lot, because like I'm gonna play a conference match and then I'm gonna like string up a racket with a different string, or string up my racket with a new string. Like, it's kind of stupid in a way. Like in the end, like I'm trying to win as well. Like I really have to focus on my tennis as well. So like if I start playing with a different string or a different racket like a day before a match, like that's really stupid. But like I'll review it, of course, just when I have some time in between matches. If you string a hybrid, how long should the mains and crosses be? So like mains, X meters, Y. Good question. Like I think you mean like when you string, like how much do you pull, like for the string, like how long? You can do it 2 ways. The way I've done it the last like 6 months is like if you have a reel or like the set. For the mains, you can go like from shoulder, or like this. What do you call like a wingspan length? So you can do 4 wingspan lengths for the mains, and then you can do 4.5 for the cross. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would pull to here. So this is for the cross, and then for the main you would just do 4 full ones, because the crosses are more. The other thing you can do is you can like do it like this. So like if you have a 19 cross, I don't know if you guys can see me, but I would go 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, all the way to like 19 or 20. Always do a little bit more, because like you need room for the knots. I think that's what you meant, but if not, I'm sorry. Don't worry, I'm searching for a string that's right for me. A Tourline Wasabi looks like it's going to be it. Love it. Yeah, Wasabi seems to be a big hit right now. And like, to be completely honest, that's another example. Like, Wasabi is doing really well because it works for a lot of people. And if I were I guess I reviewed it in the K-Pro and K-Pop. But like a full bed of Wasabi for me would not work well. It just wouldn't work for my game. And I probably wouldn't like the feeling. It's gonna play probably stiffer than my Super Toro. It's gonna give me way more spin. It's gonna bite really hard. It's going to have a really high launch angle. And like, I don't want that. But for some people, they will love it. So like I said, it's not a bad string, it just maybe not as for me. Keeping in my mind what you talked about, string tension fairness and replacing core breaks, how would you recommend ways around the financial challenges with that? Well, if you're breaking strings quite often, you really need to think about like, okay, where's my level at? Like, am I a college player? Am I a pro player? Or am I a club player, weekend warrior kind of thing where I play twice a week? If you're playing twice a week, you can really look at yourself in the mirror and be like, do I need to really be playing with alley power and natural gut? Probably not. You could probably go pick something up on like Amazon even. And like, if you want to have a fresh bed of string all the time, like for example, like Torna makes like reels of string and they're so cheap on Amazon, I think. I actually think Amazon makes a string. Now I think that would be really, really bad, so don't buy that. But like, you could buy that and you could restring 3 times a week if you want to, and you always have a fresh bed of string in there. Also, Tourline is reasonably priced as well, so you could check them out as well. So I think that's what you mean by like, you don't want to break the bank. But like, you really got to look at yourself and be like, hey, how much do I play? How good am I? What's my goal with tennis? And like, then you can kind of see, like, if you're playing college or you want to play pro or you're grinding and string will make a difference for you, then I would say you can pay more for string. You can invest more into it. But if you're somebody that's, you know, not, then you don't need to replace your string as much. You don't need to invest in such an expensive string. Like, for example, I think Luxlon is a joke, okay? And I'm not saying that because I use Tourline or I used to use Solinco or whatever. I think Luxlon makes great product, but it's way too overpriced. And the difference between their strings and you know, a Babolat string or a head string or a Tourline or Solinco is barely any, really. Like, yes, Alu Power is good, but honestly, Restring Sync is just as good and it's gonna last a lot longer. So like, I think that Luxlon has something good with their Element string and their 4G. There's not really any other strings I think that can compete with that, or their natural gut is good, but how many people are really using that? I don't know. Not many people I know. Hey, I use the Radical Augs MP. My question is about Single Hyper G125. Your opinion on the string and which play style it fits? Oh, Single Hyper G? Well, a lot of college players used to use it a lot. I feel like not as many do now. Hyper G is a poly that's like, in the grand scheme of things, a little bit softer than some. So like, for example, it's softer than Alu. You're gonna get, it's a shaped string too. So you're gonna be able to get some good spin. You're gonna get a nice little launch angle. You'll get a little bit of power out of it. I would say if you're somebody that likes to play back at the baseline, you'll like it. If you're somebody that's like serving and volleying all the time, maybe I wouldn't suggest it, but like, who am I to say that as well? Like, some people will make videos and be like, best strings for serving volleyers or whatever, and I'm just making that up. But like, it's kind of their opinion in a way, you know what I mean? Like, I could use a baseball bat for serving and volleying and say it works well for me, you know what I mean? Like, I think like, at the end of the day, it's a lot of opinion, and like, you have to demo. So like, for example, a lot of these questions I'm giving you guys my opinion, and like, I think my opinion is good, and I feel like a lot of other guys would say the same, that know a lot about string rackets or whatever. But like, you guys gotta test it. That's the thing. Like, I'm being upfront. Like, somebody is gonna ask me about, I don't know, a pure arrow. Is a pure arrow better than a pure drive? Well, personally, I like the pure arrow better, but like, doesn't mean it's the better frame for you, you know what I mean? So, my little spiel on that. A lot of the times people will leave comments on videos and I'll just say, demo it. Because like, there's only so much I can say in a comment. I can give a little bit like of information about things, but like, if somebody's asking what racket is better, it's so tough to say because it's so opinionated and personal, like, based. the sun, do you use a cap? And if yes, do you wear your cap backwards or forwards against the sun? That's a funny question. All throughout my junior years, I always wore my hat forward like this, all the time. Never, ever, ever wore it backwards. And part of it was because of the sun, part of it was just because I just grew up wearing hats forward, I guess you could say. And then, like my last year junior, and when I got to school, like I started wearing it backwards for whatever reason, I don't know. And honestly, now I wear hats backwards more than I do forwards. So it kind of defeats the purpose of wearing a hat. If it's really sunny, I will flip it around. But honestly, I'm using the hat backwards to keep my hair out of my face, or a headband. I used to wear headbands more. But yeah, that's kind of a funny question. Do tennis rackets go bad with time? Absolutely. I've been playing tennis with my father's racket for a whole life. They are 20 years old or more. I am now starting college and I'm not sure if it's holding me back. Oh, absolutely, get a new racket. Of course, it depends on your level and stuff, but like, I would absolutely, like, if you just want to get a new racket, you could definitely get a new racket. You can get like one from last year, like an older head racket, as in like 2 years old. Because what happens is rackets, when they get older, they get really soft. So they lose a lot of their, what's the word I'm looking for? They lose a lot of their punch. They don't have the oomph behind them anymore because I mean, think about somebody's knee when they got to get a knee replacement, like if they were an athlete when they were younger, the constant pound on your knees, right, over and over and over. It's the same thing with a racket. That's why sometimes rackets, I'm trying to find one here. This is like one of our guys' rackets on the team. Like, that's why sometimes like rackets will just break when they get older, like in weird places, like right here or up at the top, or even like I've seen guys play and it breaks down in the grip. Because the rackets, they just constantly take the pound. And I think you would notice a difference because 20 years of technology can go a long way. Especially if you're wanting to try like a different type of racket. Like I'm sure that Wilson racket is either like, if it was a legit racket from 20 years ago, it's probably like a really old pro stock or something. Or it's like a racket that it's not great, it's like a Wilson hammer or whatever they used to call it. You could definitely benefit from a new racket, I think. Especially if you're just getting one. What's the worst string and why? What's the worst string and why is it Hyper G? I don't think Hyper G is the worst string. Like, this is kind of bringing up what I was talking about earlier again. There's no such thing as a bad product now. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's really opinion based to a degree. Like, I can make a video and be like, guys, the Wilson blade, it sucks. And if you have a V6, V7, V8, don't upgrade because it's not a big difference, or for whatever reason. Probably for like 80% of you guys, that's gonna be like, okay, like I'm not gonna do it. But like for some people, it's gonna be like, oh my God, I love the new Wilson blade. And I'm just using the Wilson blade as an example. But like, the worst tennis string, if you want my honest opinion, is probably like that one that Amazon sells. I think they sell, like that's the truth. Like the worst major string brand, like if I throw out a name right now, guaranteed somebody that's watching this would be like, oh, I use their string and it's great. So like a string that comes to mind is like Gamma. Like I don't really care for their strings. I don't think they're great. So like I will use Gamma as an example. Now, guaranteed There's like 30 some of you guys on here that use a gamma string. There's got to be one, or there was somebody on there earlier. So, to my point, it's kind of opinion-based. But as a creator, we can give feedback and options and tell you guys what we think about them to a degree. And it will help. Don't get me wrong, it will help a lot. Like, that's why we make the videos, is to help. But also, we also want you guys to try it for yourself, because we don't also want to be like, I didn't like this video, or I didn't like this racket, so you won't like it. Like, for example, Carew or Novak Djokovic using a pure arrow. Is that racket really going to be the best fit for them? Probably not. But for an intermediate that's getting their very first racket to get like a pure arrow light, it's going to be one of the probably best rackets they could buy. So it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? At last, I finally made one of your lives. What's happening? Welcome. Happy you're here. What are your future plans after college, like the Pro Tour after the ITF experience? Oh man, I'm going for it. We'll go for as long as we can. Hopefully I can maybe get in 1 or 2 over the summer in a perfect world, but I will play tennis for as long as I can, and you guys will be on the journey with me. What tension is recommended for an aggressive baseliner or grinder using Radical? That's a loaded question. Tension. Like tension, once again, that's a feeling thing, so I'm scared to really say that. I think you got to play around with it. Try 55, try 50, try 48. It also depends on your surface and the climate you're in. Stringing right now as well, sir. Tell Nate, Tom, and Coach Kosh I say hello. I will, Miles. Thanks for stopping by. That's funny. Oh, wow, you nailed it. It's a Pro Staff McKee. So that's an old racket, because I don't even know what a McKee is actually. So definitely get on the horn there and maybe try and find the racket demo some. Pro Staff N code 98, 18 by 18. Damn. Yeah, that is an old one. Do you know if it's bad to have mains at a thinner gauge than crosses? If I had mains at a thinner gauge, I'm sure some people do it. I've heard people do, when they go for the thinner string, they put it on the cross. And honestly, that's where my knowledge for strings and tensions and all that racket technician stuff starts to kind of go away. When it comes to the products and how they play, I'm really good with that. But I'm not, like, I couldn't tell you how that would play because I've never done it before, actually. I haven't done tons of hybrids or tons of polyhybrids or that kind of thing in my life. Yeah, so I honestly don't know. I don't know. I actually took way too much string here today. Crosses thinner than mains allow mains to slide more freely, allowing more spin. That sounds pretty right, and that's what I've heard in the past as well, but I didn't want to give you bad information. Any plans on trying the new speeds? You know what? Great question. One of the girls on our girls team, her brother was visiting, and we hit with him the other day because he joined in on our practice, and he had the new Speed Pro. And like, I have not really liked the Speed Pro like ever, but that thing felt really solid in my hand actually. So like, that's an example of where like, I try a racket, I like it, well maybe I'm switching to it. So like if I love the Speed Pro, you know what I mean? Like, I would switch to it. But yeah, just kind of interesting. It felt really good. I don't have, maybe I'll probably play test some rackets in the summer just to, make some videos, get some reviews for you guys. A lot of people like them. But right now I don't have them on me or anything, or like Head or Tennis Dog can send them to me to review, but I'm sure I'll get them in the future. The goal of MP Tennis down the line is like not necessarily a review channel. We're always gonna do reviews and stuff, but like that's not like the goal of the channel at the end of the day. Like I love doing them and we'll always do them, like I said. But I want to be able to do some collabs, play against people, show you guys my experience playing college tennis and pro tennis and maybe German club tennis, things like that. Speaking of which, might have a good collab on its way. Not going to say who it's with because it's not finalized yet. But that it would be very awesome. It would be very awesome if it could happen, or if it will happen. Pure Aero 98 or V-Core 98? Oh. Something with Yonex rackets, I can't get to like them. Oh, sorry, that's too harsh. Yonex makes good rackets, but the isometric head, I've never really felt at home with that. The only one I ever actually felt that was like not bad was the V-Core 95 and the V-Core 95 and the new Percept. I want to try the Percept 100 actually. That's a racket that I want to try. But like, I've never been a big easel guy. So for that, I would probably go with the Pure Aero. Do you agree with Torline's own string stiffness ranking? I gotta be honest with you. I haven't even seen it. I've played with a ton of their strings. It must be a new thing because I'm playtesting, or I've playtested a ton of their strings. I'm sure it's pretty accurate. Like, I would probably stand behind it as well because I would probably say very similar things about it. But the only thing I will say is like, Torline's strings are mostly, like most of them are on the softer side in the grand scheme. So like, you compare Wasabi, like Wasabi is not like super stiff, but it's stiff for Torline. Like, in my opinion. Where like, if you look at like Absolute, that's really soft. Oh look, we have a visitor. Yeah, you can come in.
Who is the towel?
What?
Is there the towel?
No, no towels.
Okay,
Sorry. Sorry, that was athletics. They were checking to see if we had any of our clothes that need to be washed. I feel like you, last questions, because I'm going to wrap up here actually. I feel like you almost have to buy a bunch of rackets to demo instead of demoing them from Tennis Warehouse because you have no control over the strings or the tensions that the demos come with. That's a good point, actually. I hate to stand by that, but I do agree to some point. One thing that I do, and it's only if you guys string and you're confident in your stringing, is you take out the strings that they send you. This is so bad that I'm saying this, but like, and then you can string the racket yourself and then cut it out when you're done. I've done that in the past. Shh. You didn't hear that from me. But like, it is tough because they send you such shit strings and it's like a hybrid in a Pure Aero 100. Like, I'm never gonna like that. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever gonna like that. Like, I understand what you're saying, but you gotta have a lot of money to just buy rackets off the shelf like that. Ooh, I love this question that's coming up. No worries, have you ever tried the Super Tour in any hybrid setups? Super Tour and a hybrid setup, I'm going to start trying it. Tourline actually wants me to test some things out. With a hybrid, they've made me actually a custom blend. And I didn't love it as much as the full bed of Super Tour. They also have a prototype string that I'm supposed to test, but I just have not had any time. And it looks like Super Toro. So, I don't know. We'll see. But they're really trying to make some good stuff here, and like I would love to try and get my own blend, and I think they were trying. Actually, it might still be in here. Yeah, so they did like the omakase or whatever, and I didn't make a video about it, but Super Toro and Enzo Pro is what was in it, and I didn't really love it compared to my full bed. But then they made a prototype and they sent it to me. So I don't know other people that are getting stuff with Tourline got this prototype, but I got 2 different prototypes. So I don't know if they're for me or whatever, but I gotta test them. What Pro Tour player fits your play style the best, and what parts of your game do you want to add or improve? Also related to what you have seen in the Pro Tour experience. I'll name a girl and a guy. Just a second. Let me pull out a chair, because I'm getting tired of standing. And then I do have to wrap up, because I have to go to work. Andy Murray, by far, on the guy's side, 100%. If you gave Andy Murray some better volleys, although the guy was number 1 in the world, the guy had good volleys. If you gave him some good volleys, or some better volleys, and a better serve, that's me as a college player, 100%. I counterpunch really well, I defense to offense really well, my backhand's really solid, I can put some variety in there, I counterpunch. Yeah, Andy Murray, I love Andy Murray, he's my favorite player as well. And if I was compared to a girl, I would probably say Coco Gauff. Her backhand is I would say her backhand is a little bit better than her forehand. She serves really well, she's super athletic. She does. She's played well in doubles. I was going to say she doesn't have great volleys, but Coco Gauff, Andy Murray, that's what I would say. Can you restring the demos with your own string? You can, but they tell you not to. I want to change my speed. 2024. What is your opinion on? See, that's where I'm saying you got to demo those. Percept 100, EZone 100, or Strike 100. You got to demo those. Like that would be my opinion. I'm eyeing the Pure 98, but I've heard quality control is horrible with swing weight and balance is completely off between rackets. Oh, we got some more visitors. Is that Melvin?
Yeah.
You can come in. I'm just finishing some questions.
I was gonna wait.
You're gonna wait?
No, I was gonna wait.
You can say hi to the camera if you want. I told them you guys might be coming in.
Are you live?
Yeah, you can say hi.
Are you live?
Yeah.
I said you were in the video.
Alright, no, I'm just doing it live. This is Melvin and Nadia, everyone. One's on the girls' team, one's on the guys' team, obviously. Why would they be in here if they weren't? I'm eyeing up the Pure 98, but I've heard quality control is horrible. I couldn't comment on that because I haven't had a bulk of Pure 98s, so it's tough for me to say. But quality control is an issue with a lot of brands. See ya. What do you think about Manarino string setup? The guy is crazy, man. It's too bad Melvin just left. Melvin's from France. I'm sure he would love to comment about Manarino. But hey, man, showing people that you can play with a lower tension, it's possible. What would be your perfect player for both men and women? Roger. Probably like a Roger forehand, Novak backhand, Andy Murray grind and fitness, Rafa mental, Roger slice, Roger volleys, Novak return, something like that. For girls, for serve, Serena. Backhand slice, Ash Barty. Maybe like Egish Fiontek ground strokes. I'm just thinking really quick here. And return a serve. Maybe Iga. I don't know. I'm just thinking really quick right now. What are the most common rackets you see around the college circuit these days? I actually made a video about that. I think it might be a year old. It has changed a little bit. Somebody wanted me to make a new video about it, so I can do that as well. But yeah, I did a shoe video, I did a string video, and I did a racket video of the most used rackets in college tennis. But all of them have changed a bit. So yeah, you can check those videos out. But I might update them as well, make some new ones. Hello visitors, hello, hello. Where do I work? I'm an RA on campus, which stands for resident assistant. I take care of all the residents and people in the dorms and students. I actually work on like the international floor, so like it fits well because I'm Canadian. And yeah, resident assistants deal with a lot of things. You build community, you know, put on events for people. We have duty, so like we do rounds in the building and stuff. And sometimes it's tough. You see some things sometimes that you don't want to see because if something poor happens in your building or on campus and you're the first person to see it, like we're the first person, so like that can be. There's been some like crisis situations that I've had to deal with. So yeah, good and bad experience, but I get free housing, so it's really nice. Hey Kate, are you number 2 in your team now? I play number 3 singles and I play 1 doubles. Hope you're doing good, Rich. I'll see you soon, for sure. A couple months probably. What number single are you on your team? Like first, second? We think you should be first. Next year I might play 2. But yeah, I mean, I played 2 the other day because our number 1 was hurt. But yeah, I played 3 and 1 doubles. Hey Kate, are you still doing demos for rackets? I have a couple I'd love to hear your thoughts about. Yes and no. Right now is a little bit of a dead period for racket demos just because I'm in my season now. But I will get back to them. Is Sinner Alcaraz the new Fidel? Probably. Yeah. There's a really high chance of that actually. What is the difference between extra duty ball and normalized pressure test ball? Regular duty and extra duty. Extra duty has more felt on it. And I'm like 95% sure on this, but regular duty balls, like the US Open ones, are the ones that the girls use at the US Open. The extra duty ones are the ones that the guys do. The reason for that is guys they hit more spin. So the more felt on the ball reacts better to the spin, where girls hit more flat, and it's different, like it's a different style of tennis basically. You so winner, yes. I'm not sure what you mean, but thank you for leaving a comment. Sending love from Texas. Thank you for stopping in. I'm in New Hampshire, so yes, very far away. I really liked your last video. Were you saying that you should have your palm facing outwards in trophy position up until racket drops? I got a couple comments on that. I gotta do some comments or reply. I've been really slow. I actually have the flu right now. That's why I've been kind of out. Racket, the palm can be like facing like this, so like this, okay? You can have it more like this if it's more natural, but ideally in a perfect world, it should be pointing like down more at the ground. You don't want to have it like this. This is where you want to stay away from. It's like having a racket out like this when you serve, people call it like pancake grip or waiter serve. You lose a lot of power with that, and it's very inconsistent. All right, guys, last couple questions here. I'm not in a relationship right now. Love from the Netherlands, bro. Thank you. Cheers. Got 2 guys actually on our team. I think I actually said that to you before. I have 2 guys on our team that are from the Netherlands. Power shot for extra power, or are you always so power? I think that means like controller power. I say both because I like to counterpunch. So, but I also have a big serve. So, I like to create power on the serve, but I also love to turn like defense into offense. When I switch to the solution speed, probably not. I demoed them. I loved them when I tested them, but I didn't end up liking them long term, if that makes any sense. I missed my Vapor 9.5s. If anybody on this live has connection to Nike and you really want to like help me out and get me these for like the rest of my life, greatly appreciated because I love those shoes so much, but they're not going to make them anymore. Why you no like Pro Staff 97? I never said I didn't like the Pro Staff 97. I just prefer other rackets. Pro Staff doesn't really. I mean, I like the Radicals more. I think the Pro Staffs will work better for other players, or they work for certain players. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and keeping me company and being great subs. If you're not subscribed, you definitely should like and subscribe. We got lots of stuff on the channel. What shoe was that? That was a Vapor 9.5. Tried playing with sunglasses against the sun. Yeah, no, I would never play with sunglasses on a tennis court. No chance. I just wear a hat and hope for the best. But anyway, that's that. I gotta get ready for work and take a shower here and get out of here. So thank you for stopping by. Like and subscribe if you're not subscribed, guys. Come on. Thank you, and we'll see you guys later.